Hi, I just wanted to share a little bit about Pickle. You may have already heard of it, but just in case you haven't, I wanted to give my initial thoughts and mention why maybe this is something that might be worth looking into for you. So if you haven't heard about Pickle, it's a configuration file type that's made by Apple. It's an alternative to YAML or JSON or XML, things like that. And it provides a little bit more safety and a few more features at the cost of some complexity. And the reason why I'm super excited about this project is because every time I'm working with YAML or with JSON to write configuration, I always feel like there's a better way. The amount of times I thought that I should build some kind of statically typed system for configuration, I'm so glad that it's been done by people that have done a much better job than I would have. And it's another standard, it's something else that a lot of people won't use, but I think even if it doesn't become the de facto standard, it's still valuable because one, I can use it in my own personal projects, and two, it's cross-compilable. You can write the types that will generate the YAML or JSON or XML for whatever build system doesn't support Pickle. So it's still valuable to me, regardless of if it gets mainstream adoption or not. Most of the configuration files I write are for configuration that other people have defined. I don't have a lot of experience designing my own configuration that will be consumed by an app, but I do have one. A few months ago, I wanted to create a system where I could spin up landing pages very quickly, and I did that using a configuration file. At the time I used a TOML, and I converted that system to use Pickle to see how I find a difference, and I do think it's better. I think Pickle works really well with Kotlin, so let me share a bit of that and you can decide for yourself. So it's a very simple configuration file, not a lot of complexity, but it's a good stepping stone to see what Pickle can do, and this is pretty much the extent of what I will do in configuration files for the near future. You have type aliases, which is cool. You have the similar types. The syntax is a little different, but it's very familiar, which makes it easy to work with. And the way I define my page, I have a bunch of metadata, and then I have modules, and each module will be one section in the landing page, and then I provide some attributes that some of them have default values, which is great, and then I have footer elements which are in the footer. And this is the template, which is nice because when I use TOML, I would just have to guess what the attributes were. But now when I fill this template out, I get type safety, and I have to use IntelliJ because the LSP doesn't work yet for NeoVim. But when I write things, I get type safety, and I can add comments directly in here. So if someone is using my config, I can add comments explaining what each part is doing, which is amazing because it means I don't have to go back and forth with the documentation. Once I import the type definitions, it's very simple to just fill them out, and I can create arrays like this. I don't like the new keyword. What's something I do like about TOML that you can't do here is that in TOML you have the option to do everything at the top level. Yeah, I could do module, and then I could do heading. Or if I say like I had a nested object, I could do heading. I like this syntax because it lets me do everything without nested parentheses. I just think it looks cleaner, but I understand why you would make it only work this way. So this configuration lets me have this landing page. So whatever configuration I have, and I can change this here. So I change this to worst. And now when I reload, I get this updated to the worst. Parsing this is very easy. It even has code generation, so that would make it even easier. But I already had the data classes with the similar data structure, so that was all good. And I just pass it like this. Got first class support for Kotlin. I didn't even have to add any sort of annotation to these. Just use them directly to convert. That's very nice. There is a few things that I don't like. The main one being that it's an extra thing to learn now. You didn't really have to learn YAML. You didn't really have to learn JSON. You just do it. Whereas now there'll be personal preferences, and there'll be the right way and the wrong way of doing things, especially when it comes with inheritance and partial inheritance. It has features where you can override an object but only certain values, and I think that can get quite complex very fast, and I worry that it will just grow in complexity, whereas when you just have YAML, you just have YAML, and that's all it does. I think going forward, this will be what I use whenever I have to write configuration file, because it's compatible with all other formats as well. I also like the syntax. It's very similar to Kotlin, and it can even do class generation for me, so it's kind of a no-brainer. And I also hope to use it with third-party dependencies, especially things like Circle CI or GitHub Actions. Configuring things when you're doing GitOps, I just don't want to deal with YAML. I don't want to deal with white space formatting, so I'm hoping this becomes more widely adopted.